Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into something that affects all of us, probably more than we even realize. We're going to explore what really separates a digital service that just happens to be working from one that is truly, deeply resilient. It's all about the invisible architecture that keeps our digital world from completely falling apart.
You know the feeling, right? We've all been there. You're just about to hit buy on that massive sale, you're uploading that project right on the deadline, or maybe you're just settling in for the season finale. And bam! Everything just stops. So why? Why does it always seem to happen then?
Well, the truth is, it's almost never just one little bug. It's usually a much bigger, much deeper issue. You can think of it as a failure in a three-part system: a breakdown in the promise that was made to you, a failure in the delivery of that promise, and, maybe most importantly, a failure in the plan to protect it when things really go sideways.
Now, the good news is we don't have to just guess how to fix this. There's a world-renowned playbook called the ITIL 4 framework. It's pretty much the gold standard for managing IT services. So today, we're going to use its core ideas to explore the three essential pillars that every single reliable service is built on.
Okay, let's dive right into this. Our first pillar is all about setting the right expectations. This is the foundation for everything else. It all begins with making a clear, solid promise.
So, in the world of IT, this promise has a name. It's called Service Level Management, or SLM for short. And you gotta understand, this is not just some technical checklist. It's the absolutely fundamental practice of sitting down with the business side and agreeing on exactly what a service is supposed to do, how well it's supposed to do it, and how we're all going to measure that success together.
And SLM isn't a set-it-and-forget-it kind of deal. It's a living, breathing cycle. It all starts with defining and negotiating what good actually looks like, and you write that down in something called a Service Level Agreement, an SLA. From that point on, it's just this constant loop of monitoring performance, reporting back to everybody, and then using that hard data to make the service even better. It keeps the tech side perfectly in sync with what the business actually needs.
So, once that promise is made, how do we actually keep it? Day in, day out? That brings us to our second pillar, which is all about the delivery.
This is where availability management comes in. This practice is all about the real, nitty-gritty work of making sure those services are up and running, just like we promised in that SLA. It's a constant balancing act, really. On one hand, you're making things tough so they don't fail, and on the other, you're making sure you can recover in a flash if they do. And to really get this balancing act, you only need to know two key ideas. The first one is called MTBF, or mean time between failures. The goal here? Make this number as big as humanly possible. You want things to run for a long time without ever breaking. The second is MTRS, mean time to restore service. And here, you want the exact opposite. Make this number tiny. When something does break, you fix it fast. Great availability is when you absolutely nail both of these.
And look, this isn't just some theory from a textbook. A CIO from a huge financial services firm put it perfectly. They said they moved away from reactive firefighting, just scrambling to put out the next fire, and moved to a proactive, systematic approach. That's the real magic of availability management. It's a total mindset shift from just fixing problems to preventing them in the first place.
And the results of that shift? They were staggering. By focusing on making their services stronger, on increasing that mean time between failures, they cut their service downtime by a massive 40%. Just think about that. Imagine what that means for customers and for employees.
But that's only half the story. They also attacked the other side of the problem, getting faster at fixing things. They were able to shrink their mean time to restore service by an incredible 62%. See? It's this two-pronged attack that really works. Fail less often, and when you do, recover almost instantly.
Okay, but what happens when something truly catastrophic goes down? I'm talking a major outage, a natural disaster, something way beyond a routine failure. Well, that brings us to our final pillar, the protection. This is your ultimate insurance policy. This is the world of Service Continuity Management, or SCM. Now, this isn't about fixing a little bug or a server crash. This is about having a tested, ready-to-go plan that keeps the absolute most critical parts of the business running after a real disaster.
Its one and only focus is survival.
And the stakes here could not be higher. I mean, this statistic is just incredibly stark. 40% of businesses that get hit by a major disaster without a solid continuity plan, they just never open their doors again. That's why SCM isn't some nice-to-have luxury. It is a must-have. And this brings up a really crucial difference we need to understand. Incident management, that handles your everyday issues. It uses standard procedures to get things back to normal. But service continuity, that's the break glass in case of emergency plan. It only kicks in for true disasters, and it focuses on keeping the absolute essentials alive, often by flipping over to completely separate recovery sites and special plans.
And you guessed it, just like our other pillars, effective protection is not a dusty binder sitting on a shelf. It's a living, breathing cycle. You start by understanding your risks, then you build a strategy, you create a plan, and, this is the most important part, you constantly test that plan and train your people. Then you review, you improve, and you start all over again so you're always ready.
All right, so let's bring it all home. Let's see how these three pillars don't just stand on their own, but how they lock together to create a system that's truly resilient. When you put it all together, the system is actually beautifully simple. Service level management defines the promise. Availability management works its tail off every single day to keep that promise. And service continuity management, it's the ultimate backstop that protects the promise from total disaster. You simply can't have true resilience without all three of these working together perfectly.
And that really leaves us with one final question to think about. See, being available is about staying up and running during normal conditions. But being resilient, that's about having the promise, the delivery, and the protection all in place to withstand literally anything. So which is it for the services you rely on every day?